It's probably the biggest regret of my career, bar none, that I never played the World Matchplay. The fan in me just says, duke it out until we get an out-and-out winner. Let's not let the rules get in the way of this, and let's not let the rules. Let's just battle this out until the best player comes out on top. It can never move. If you move it, it loses its identity. You can't take this to a soulless arena somewhere. Every year, we get that same narrative. This is the best World Match Play ever. The tour's never been so good. This is the best World Championship ever. I disagree.
The World Match Play gets underway at Blackpool's iconic Winter Gardens venue on Saturday as Luke Humphries looks to defend the title that he won 12 months ago, getting the better of Michael van Gerwen in the final. Matthew Edgar, you've not played on the Winter Gardens stage in terms of the World Match Play, but you have been in Blackpool a fair bit as a young one. How great a venue, first of all, is the Winter Gardens?
Well, thanks for that flattening welcoming. Like, I've not played there, but I've been to Blackpool, haven't I? I've bought a stick of rock. But I have actually played on that stage. There's one you probably didn't know. There's 2 players that have played on the World Match Play stage that have never been beaten. Can you name them?
I can imagine you're one of them because you're asking the question.
Absolutely, yes. So,
who's the other one, though, before we delve any deeper?
Bo Grease.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
So, the 2 Donny guys with something in common there, you know, both winners. Now, I think it was 2001, they ran like a junior match play for the first time ever. And I went pre-show for Phil Taylor versus Richie Burnett, won the semi-final and the final, never lost a leg on the stage. So that one backfired, didn't it?
What was the score?
2-0.
Oh, so it's a very quick game then, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah, I was, boshed it.
Like the old News of the World format.
That one backfired though, didn't it? Yes, I have been on that stage. Great venue though, jokes aside. Great venue. It's probably the biggest regret of my career, bar none, that I never played the World Match Play. The World Match Play, I'd swap everything for it. And I mean the Ali Pali appearances as well. I would happily say that I've never played Alexandra Palace if I had the opportunity to play the World Match Play. For me, and that may sound crazy to some people because the World Championship is the pinnacle of our sport, but to me, intrinsically, the personal factor, when we look at the match play, I used to go there as a child. We used to go there, the whole family. And that's sentimental for me as well, because I don't really have a lot of family left. I think there's 2 members of my family. And we all used to go there. We all used to get together. We lived in different places. We all met up in Blackpool. That was in the days we got a season ticket for 30 quid. You could go in to every session for 30 quid. Not every session was televised. Some of the games was off TV. You'd go watch them and it was non-broadcast. They used to go around outside the venue asking people to come in just to fill the room up because it looked really empty on the cameras. So they'd be going around outside, oh, do you want to come to the darts today? Darts is on today. Now, it's a totally different story. You've got people touting tickets outside, trying to sell them for about 3 times the price, if not more. It's a completely different sport now to when I first started going.
Is the Winter Gardens the most iconic venue on the PDC calendar?
Yes, without a doubt. You can move the World Championship from Alexandra Palace. We may even see that. You can't move the Winter Gardens. If you move this out of Blackpool, it all changes everything. It's not the match play no more. Now, it's hard to get a ticket for the match play. The ticket prices are going up. There's standing areas at the Winter Gardens. They've maximised it as much as they can, but it can never move. If you move it, it loses its identity. You can't take this to a soulless arena somewhere. The World Match Play in Blackpool and the World Match Play in the Winter Gardens go hand in hand. It'll forever be there. Yes, it's a maxed out tournament. Look at other forms of revenue. They'll have to look at increasing things such as sponsorship. We know the broadcasting's gone up there, but in terms of getting more fans into the arena, the match play is maxed out.
It's a little bit, I suppose there's a conversation in snooker, isn't there, with the Crucible, that yes, there's bigger venues probably elsewhere that could host that championship, but you would lose the soul of the championship if you moved the World Snooker from the Crucible. And there's a sense and a feeling that with Blackpool that if you moved the event from the Winter Gardens, you probably moved the soul of the event.
Absolutely. And I think part of this as well, I'm surprised it's not happened more, is the seaside location. Blackpool is, to some, the entertainment hub of the UK. Some people call it the Vegas of the North. Obviously never been to Vegas before, if they compare it to Blackpool. But when we look at that, I'm surprised no other places sort of... And this was when you watch that amazing documentary, the Blood on the Carpet series, when Tommy Cox went to Blackpool and he says, right, we've got to tie in holiday locations. During the school holidays, it used to be. Now sort of just a bit of a crossover, depending where you live. But let's go early summer holidays in a seaside location. This is how we're going to sell the sport. And we're not really seeing that too much. And maybe when we look at how much soulless sort of events we've got, I say soulless events, I mean things like the Grand Prix being in Leicester. It's just a big arena, a big room in the middle of the country. The Grand Slam doesn't really have that. Can we get an identity of one of these events by looking in some of these holiday and seaside locations? Potentially. Because they've all got big arenas, they've all got big buildings. I would like to see this format maybe followed elsewhere, and I think it maybe just got to love seasides and arcades maybe as part of this, but I'd like to see more events on the coast.
So the match play we know is a magical tournament. What do you think is going to be the magic behind this year's competition? Because you look at it, obviously you're going to have the two Lukes that are going to go off as big favourites to go on and win it. Then you've got other players that are going to look at, Josh Rock's had a very good year and won the World Cup. He's recently been selected for a World Series event. You get the sense and feeling that, yes, you're going to have your typical favourites, but there's a lot of people that could genuinely say that they can stake a claim to this trophy this year.
There really will be as well, but I think what I'm going to do as well is, even though I'm sat in this chair, I'm going to flip this very quickly. I'm going to take over the role of presenting. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe that this is the best match play we've ever had?
It's up there. I'm not sure as of yet. I think when you look at 1 to 32, there is a strength about it. And I know that obviously that you've done a couple of meetings in the past, that there's some big names that are missing out, the likes of Michael Smith, the likes of Dimitri Van der Berg. Michael made the semi-finals last year. Dimitri hit a 9 darter. So you have got those big names missing. But I think if you look at the perspective of 1 to 32, the 32 players in the event, I think it's as levelled out as perhaps we've ever seen a match play field. And the reason I judge that is when you look at the first round. In the past, you probably look at a few games in that first round and you think, that player probably wins that one, that player probably wins that one. But even when you look at the very top seeds this year, like the likes of Luke Humphries, who I've said now for the best part of 18 months, I think is the best long course player in the world. You put him in a format like the World Championship, you put him in the format of the World Match Play, results speak for itself. When he gets to the longer stages, he tends to produce. But Gian Van Veen, over first to 10, of course he could beat a Luke Humphries. Even YSL against Luke Littler, he can get the job done there. I think there's so many intriguing first round games. I think what makes it the most competitive match play that we've seen, because I think in the past, you'll be the first to admit, there's been some games you think, right, that player wins that one, that player wins. There's probably, maybe in my opinion, possibly 2, maybe 3 games stretching at the most where you think, yeah, that player will win that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Henry Deacon. Pundit, career in punditry, Henry. There you go. That's how you answer questions. I asked you purely because when we look at this and we look at sort of every year, we get that same narrative. This is the best world match play ever. The tour's never been so good. This is the best world championship ever. I disagree. And I disagree because I purely follow statistical data. I think what we're getting now is a very exposed nature of the players. Because when you go through those players, yes, we know what they're capable of. We know what they're capable of because we see them on streaming on the Pro Tours. We see them on European tours. There's more major events now. When people first go to the Pro Tour, we know about them because they've been here. And we've seen them here. We've seen them what they can do here. We've seen them on the Challenge Tour. We've got Dart Connect. You don't ever find that there's a 14, 15-year-old player breaking through that we don't know about, because we see them coming a mile away because of Darts Connect and all these systems. I think what we've got is an exposed field here, and with that, I think there's going to be that narrative spun that this is the best one ever, but what I do expect is a competitive one, and I think there's going to be some shocks and surprises.
And I also get the sense as well that this could be a tour, particularly when you look at the early games, you look at some of those matches where extra legs are very much coming back. And that's the unique thing about the match play, which no other tournament in the world has. You don't have it at the Grand Prix, you don't have it at the Grand Slam, you don't have it at the Players' Championship. Okay, you get it at the World, but that's a set play tournament. That's one of the unique things as well, isn't it? That extra time. And I'll tell you what I do want to ask you is that, they've curtailed it now, so you can only play 5 legs on like you would do at the World Championship. Are you for or against that? Because there's a little bit of me that loved those games years ago that just went on and on and on. I'm sure the broadcasters didn't, but they were great to watch as a fan and as a spectator.
And there you go, there's your answer. As a fan, as someone who sat in that arena watching those games that went nearly double time, I loved it. I'd love it to come back. As now an educated spectator, should we say, I know that it can't happen. You know how valuable hitting time marks are in broadcast, certainly for a major broadcaster like Sky. Now, if they overrun, that overrun is going to leak into something else. A lot of live programming. Now, if you have an overrun by a significant amount of time, which has done in the past, I remember being in the match play and watching, and a session went to within half an hour of the evening session starting. I believe it was Bob Anderson, Keith Deller was the last game. I think 2 games ran over, but they went like 19-17. It went right the way through. To the point where they had a break and they went, guys, if you've got tickets for the evening session, just stay where you are because you can't go out to come back in. The evening session people was coming in and they was queuing them down the stairs. So I get that it's a problem not only for broadcast but also for security reasons, getting people in and out. There's probably people that didn't have an evening ticket that stayed. Was there too many people potentially now if we do that? Because you wouldn't have that issue then, but now if people did that, have you gone over what you're allowed in there by fire regulations? So there's so many complications it causes, and you've got to have some control over the time.
And I'm sure there's 1 or 2 commentators that want that extra time as well. Is best of 5 though too short in terms of legs, or maybe 7? Would that be more appropriate for an extra time, or is 5 about the right cut-off?
It's probably fair. It gives the game enough time to breathe and enough time to sort of get to a conclusion. But the fan in me just says, duke it out until we get an out-and-out winner. Let's not let the rules get in the way of this. And let's not let the rules. Let's just battle this out until the best player comes out on top.
What should we look forward to this year's match play?
Quality. Levels, as in head-to-head clashes that are going to be very even. We're not going to get many 10-0s, 10-1s, 10-2s. There will be a big surprising scoreline somewhere along the way. There always is. But I think we're going to get a lot of tight clashes. This is the best 16 players in the world against the most informed players in the world. 16 from the 2-year taking on 16 from the 1 year, battling out for £200,000. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on indeed.